The purpose of this simple video is to orient people into Google Drive and basically show you three things: how to access that drive, how to create and share Google documents, and how to find and edit documents that others have shared with you. So let's get started. When you first log into your browser, most people are going to use this browser called Google Chrome. And when you open that up, it might take you to this page here, Roseville Joint District. You might see this page here. Just close that. And when you get to the web here, just click on this button here called Apps, and it should take you to your drive. Don't be distracted by all these other applications I've loaded onto this computer. You just want to look for this one, Google Drive, and that should take you right to your personal drive that has been created by the district in conjunction with Google. Now, what is this? It's a place where you can store files. You can create new files, you can share files with others, and it's basically like a personal drive where you store these things up in the cloud. Now, what is this cloud everybody's talking about? Well, it's basically stored on Google servers somewhere out in cyberspace, and they're pretty darn secure. I wouldn't want to put personal information up on here, but you can share student files, and students can access this through Chromebooks or their phones or anything else as long as you share it with them. So when you get to this drive here, think of it as like your P drive up in the sky, so to speak. That's the cloud we're talking about, but you can access it from any computer or any phone that has internet connectivity. That's the beauty of it, right? The P drive, you usually have to be on the district network unless you know how to get those things remotely. Okay, so the key thing here with Google Drive is when you click on My Drive, that's the default folder that it goes into. These are all documents that I created. That's why it says owner, me, 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 me. The big difference is if you haven't created anything, this will be all blank. If you haven't gone up here and created a Google document the first time, okay, a document or a presentation, a spreadsheet or a form or whatever, you won't see anything there. What you will probably see is if you click shared with me, you see all these other documents made by all these other employees or others out in cyberspace. Doesn't have to be here, okay, but almost everybody you see here is a Roseville Joint Union High School District employee, and so this is how things are shared. All right, so big distinction. My drive, stuff I created and I can share with others. Shared with me, this is where you find things that others have shared with you. In fact, students often turn things into teachers this way. If I were to go look up a student of mine from last year, this student here, if I were to check on this, all right, here is a spreadsheet that she created for my Algebra 2 class last year. Okay, it's got all kinds of stuff on here. This is all student work, but that's how students share stuff with us. Okay, so she got a big old graph there, all this work here. But anyway, on my drive here, I can search for any student here. I might search for any person I want. I could check another student, but that's how I do those things. Okay, so Brandon is another student I had last year, so I can just check for him and see what he's got shared with me. Okay, it's loading, and here's some work that he did. Not very complete, but either way, you get the idea. You can search for documents there, and that's how that works. Okay, if I were to want to create something, let's suppose I want to create, let's just take this document that I just created here. Suppose I want to share this with people. I click the share button, and I can type in just about anybody I want. Let's list that same student over there. There he is. Look, students are in there. This is a student I had at Roseville last year, so I can just type brandon.koch@student.rghsd.us. It comes up automatically. Here's a bunch of other students whose names are similar apparently. They have the BRAN. So these names are in there. If I want to share it with a staff member, let's just pick Jennifer Layton, okay, or that'd be JLEIGHTON. Oh, there she is. It comes up. You can just click on that, and that shares it with her instantly. Okay, I can notify her by email. In fact, I can add a message and say, hey, Jen, what's going on? Here's this document you wanted. That's how this works, okay? If I were to click send here, and I won't because I don't want to bother her, but I'd click send, I could send a copy to myself. You can embed it in the email, but when I click send here, okay, and actually I'm just going to send it to myself, I think, okay? Okay, or I can send it to a personal Gmail account that I have. It's right there. Okay, and I'll just take that out. Here's my new message. Okay, I click send. People will get an email. Okay, this is just warning me that's going to somebody outside the district. That's all. Okay, nothing harmful there. But those people will get an email saying, oh, click on this button, and it takes you right to the document. So it's very easy. No attachments. You don't have to download anything. They will just find it in their shared with me file. Okay, so that's how that works. You want to create a document. Well, you just go in here and say, what do I want to create? A presentation? Let's go look at a presentation I just started. Hey, once you open this thing up, this looks a lot like PowerPoint. It's got boxes in here. I can create another slide. I can embed videos or bullets, all these things, right? Insert new slide, insert text box, insert image, insert video. They're very much like PowerPoint. It's just free, and it's so easy to share with your students. Okay, one other thing about Google Drive, if you want to share it with a whole lot of students, here's my drive. Here's a folder I had for all my Algebra 2 students. Well, let's find it, Algae 2. Okay, I'll just do a search for that. Here's my spring class. Okay, I've shared it with a fellow teacher, Sandy Smidgen. Okay, once I create a folder and I share it with everybody, anything I create in that folder is automatically shared with all the students. So I don't have to type in all the student names again. I just do this once per term. I go to this folder, I create rights for this folder where I share the whole folder, and anything I create in that folder now is shared with all those students. Okay, by the way, when you share these things, if I took this kid's paper here, let's open up, see what he did. All right, well, let's just go to this one. If I were to share this, remember that I can also give people very specific rights. I can say you can only view it, you can't edit it, you can only comment on it, but this is critical because if you have a template in here that you want people to type into, I would recommend going with view, and they can always, once they get out here, they can always go file, make a copy, and then it gets copied into their My Drive. So they can retitle it and type and call it whatever they want. Okay, so again, My Drive is where my stuff is. Shared with me is where others have dumped files, or that's where other files show up that they want to share with me. Okay, we talked about other things, right? Google has spreadsheets. Well, this is very much like Microsoft Excel, right? I totally get this. It's easy. I can just type in a bunch of numbers here. I can highlight a trend and just copy numbers down, and I've got a whole class roster. I can copy this trend and copy down. Excel is very underutilized, or spreadsheets are underutilized, but that is another feature within Google Drive. Clearly, one of the biggest benefits of these forms. You can open up a form here. Let's go to one I already started here. If I want to do a student survey, I just go in and start typing in questions. I'm not going to go into details in this, but you can pick a text box, a check box. You can choose from a list. You can ask your parents or students anything. And you've seen this probably already because I think we've all had to do student supervision or supervision events here. So again, I've got this folder here. I think you've seen this form here where you all had to type in the events that you wanted to supervise, and then you just click send at the bottom. It's very easy to create these. It's very easy to share these. It's very easy to see the results here and see what people wrote. It shows up in a spreadsheet, which you can then sort and go from there. Okay, so here's all the results. It doesn't always look, you got a couple of glitches there just from it loading, but once it loads, it's fine. No glitches here. You can see what everybody suggested, and then you go in and you deal with that and process the data however you want. Okay, so that's a quick overview of Google Drive, Google Docs, whether the presentation, spreadsheets, a form, or these other drawings or other files here. But basically, remember that you can see things that are shared with you. You can create things on your drive, and it's very easy to use, very helpful, and that is the whole goal of Google Drive and Google Documents. Okay, hope that helps, and feel free to use these and ask questions if we can help you further with that. Thank you.